Yesterday, the guy who promised no new wars revealed that U.S. troops seized an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. Here's what he said about it yesterday. Take a look.
We've just seized a tanker on the coast of Venezuela, a large tanker, very large. Largest one ever seized, actually. And other things are happening.
What happens to the oil on this ship?
Well, we keep it, I guess.
Where does it go? What port does it go to?
Well, you have to follow the tanker. You know, you're a good newsman, just follow the tanker.
You know, he was the original size matters guy, you know?
Yeah, you know, I don't understand. I mean, okay, he seized a tanker. What is it really? What is this really? Is this more, let's not talk about Epstein? Is this, let's not talk about Hegseth? What is this? Because
remember the movie?
What happens if the people who support Venezuela, like, I don't know,
like Venezuelans.
The Chinese get their oil from Venezuela, do
the
they
Russians.
not? Russians. So what happens if they get on the side of the Venezuelans and say, this is not right? What happens if there's retaliation? All these guys in power now seem to be living on bases all over the country. Somehow they're living on army bases and stuff. Who's going to pay if there's retaliation?
We are. We are. Can I just bring, do you remember the movie Wag the Dog?
Yeah.
Yes.
The movie was a U.S. president, I think Dustin Hoffman,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Starts a war in Albania to distract from a sex scandal weeks before an election. That's the movie. Sound familiar? And the USS Epstein is at the dock right now. Plus the fact that now we know it was about oil. We were wondering, why does it keep going to Venezuela?
Well, we did talk about here over and over was this, you know, because it clearly wasn't about drugs when he kept striking these boats, because people knew the drugs weren't headed for the U.S. And over and over, was it regime change or was it the oil? We're now realizing oil is part of it, but this move specifically on this tanker might be a good thing. And I say that because my first reaction when Trump's involved in a lot of the people he puts in office, you're like, what the hell are they doing? There's no faith in the system. There's no transparency, especially after all these boats were attacked. But this is supposedly, and I actually kind of deep dove into this topic, about sanctioned oil. And it is diverting oil that could be going to China, Russia, And Iran. the and Iran, who are not, they're adversarial nations to us. This is something the European Union has sanctions with them. Canada has sanctions. The U.S. has sanctions. They came in with a warrant on this ship. There was actually a warrant to go after this ship because what they're trying to do.
Quaint.
Well, no, but that you got to call them when they're
a federal
judge do it. When you look, when
warrant.
we criticize all the time about the illegal things, you got to call them. This was a legal seizure of an oil tanker, and a lot of what they're saying is that this is also going to de-incentivize black market ships from stopping in Venezuela and taking this oil to enemy nations. So this actually might be a good thing, sadly wrapped in a Trump packaging, which makes it really hard to see that.
So
point.
if they took the oil to enemy nations, what does that mean?
Well, it was supplying some terrorist regimes for years now.
And they're sanctioned by the U.S. government. It is unlawful. I would say I see this
But so you
very...
could just blow up all the ships
It's
that
not
are doing
blowing
it?
it up. We
this is
seized
not
it.
Well, whatever.
They
This
didn't
isn't
even
the drug
resist,
boats.
by the way.
Can I just say this, though, on the legal piece of it? It's unclear whether or not this was legal. A federal judge did issue this seizure warrant that you're referring to roughly about 2 weeks ago because this particular ship's past activity smuggling Iranian oil. And that oil is typically used to finance terrorist activity. So I understand that piece. But the piece that I don't understand is that the President of the United States is almost acting as if he's a pirate. And the United States is, you know, we're just a group of pirates. Because some legal experts will tell you that the U.S. has no jurisdiction to enforce unilateral sanctions on non-U.S. persons outside of its territory. And I'm sort of in that space. Who are we to be able to bomb boats off of the coast of Venezuela? Who are we to board a ship, even with a U.S. federal judge's seizure warrant, and then keep the oil? That, to me, feels a lot like corruption. It feels a lot like
Imperialism.
me to imperialism. It feels a lot like me to fascism. And so while it may be cloaked in an appearance of legality, I still question that.
We do sanction terrorist organizations and regimes that are associated with them all over the world, and we do seize assets that could support terrorist activities. This is longstanding throughout the Middle East. It's new because it's in the Western Hemisphere. And what I would say is this. I always favor diplomacy. I don't consider myself an America First Republican. I'm an old school Romney McCain Republican. But I actually agree, no one wants new wars right now. I want to see Nicolas Maduro go. I'm just going to say it right there. The average Venezuelan's living in poverty. The 74% of Venezuelans have lost 20 pounds due to deprivation, starvation, and food shortages. He ran one of the most prosperous nations in the Western Hemisphere into the ground.
Yeah.
But the way you do it is diplomatically. When I worked for Vice President Pence, we met with the former opposition leader in Venezuela, Juan Guaido, who was the only, at the time, democratically elected leader of Venezuela. We got every nation in the Western Hemisphere to back him. We got the UN, we tried to get the UN to revoke Maduro's credentials to the UN. That is how you make change. When you go in with military force, we lived through the wars on terror. It takes a really long time.
We have a lot of nerve doing this.
Well,
Exactly.
well, but
Because we are watching the country get run into the ground.
Yeah, so-
and we are
right.
in bed with the Russians, with all the people that I thought we were not supposed to be sanctioning and not partying with, but working with. And so I'm not sure what we're trying to do anymore because we don't seem to have a clear thing.
What I would say here is I am not convinced that Donald Trump is actually going to use military force to try to overthrow Maduro. I think this is posturing. I think it's wanting to show strength in the Western Hemisphere and to tell Russia and Iran, if you have sanctioned vehicles and are trying to use oil in that region, that we're going to enforce our laws. But I do get cautious when I hear of military buildups right outside of our
So
border.
regarding
and we have to pay
Maduro,
attention
if this
to it.
country goes into the toilet and everybody becomes poor, that's okay for somebody else to take
No,
us
I'm not.
out?
I'm literally just said I support a
yeah,
diplomatic
that's it,
solution.
yeah.
Oh, even
not a
diplomatically.
military.
What is it their business?
Get all of the nations in the Western Hemisphere, the Organization of American States, to support the democratically elected leader who is now Machado. That's who should be running it. The
But
people of
Donald Trump was
Venezuela want
democratically
Maduro out.
elected, and look what we've got.
Yeah, but they're also saying
No, the people of Venezuela want Maduro gone.
I think
everyone.
most people
Chuck
don't-
Schumer said,
So do
"I
we.
want Maduro out."
Yeah.
This has bipartisan support
But
in
I
regard
think
to.
most people will agree militarily causing a regime change
Yeah,
in
it would
another
never
country
we'd
is
create a
something that the
refugee
United States should
crisis. It
not
would
do.
make
Well, just
no
to be clear,
sense.
I'm not endorsing that either, and these are
Right.
not the same as the drug boat attacks. I'm trying to
Yeah.
weed out through all the noise the difference between this seizure and those drug boats.
And I'm saying, how dare we do this
Yeah.
when we are not really being the leaders that America's supposed to be?
And I think it
I-
perhaps could
it's-
be illegal.
And I think that, it makes it very hard to take some of what goes on here seriously, because I watch stuff that happens and I think, well, how are we saying this is bad when we're doing it?
Yeah.
I don't get it. And we're going
Exactly.
to talk more about something like this because we're in the throes of all kinds of